Bishop Nathaniel here. You know what day it is. That's right. It is Shout Out Tuesday. It's Shout Out Tuesday. And you know how I love to read your letters of exhortation and your donations of support. But before I get to it, you know I love to cover a little bit of history. I'm going to talk about Pastor Popo today. Pastor Popo. Some of you heard of him, some of you may have not. But stay tuned. Let me show you this brief look into history, and I'll be right back. A treatise on physical geography, comprising hydrology, geology, meteorology, botany, zoology, and anthropology by A. Barrington. This was first published in the year 1850. 1850. I always tell you, get the old books. While we were still in slavery, let's see what these scholars have put together regarding the Israelites. All right. Thus the Jews are a people who have ever, according to the prophecy, dwelt alone, without intermixing with the nations to this day. Now this separate race all descended from brown ancestors, for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob must have been as dark as Mar Yohanan, if not darker, exhibit every shade of color from the black Jews of Malabar, of whom we have such an interesting account by Claudius Buchanan, to the rose lily complexion of the Jewess on the banks of Elbe, those Amalek. Those are converts. We need go no further than the Jews of southern Spain and compare them with those of Holland and northern Germany to perceive a very striking difference. Because remember, you had original black Jews, and then you had white Jews, which were converts. The Spanish Jew is always dark complexioned, and his hair is uniformly black, whilst the German Jew, this convert, is often as fair as any German and has light or red hair with blue eyes. These are converts, these are Edomites. The various shades of color observable among the Negro or African race tends to the same conclusion. Along the coast of Guinea, which is low, marshy, and hot, we find jet black complexions, and this is the very country from which American Negroes have been derived. So these American Negroes, they know, are Jews. These are Israelites, descended from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Fact. Light and truth collected from the Bible and ancient and modern history, containing the universal history of the colored and the Indian race. This was published in 1844. 1844. All right, I'm on page 249. Page 249. The Hebrews are called after Heber, pronounced Eber, their great father, from whom all the Hebrews descended. The Israelites are called after the great father Israel. Remember, Israel, whose name was Jacob, descended from Eber. The Jews are descendants from Judah. That's where the word Jew comes from. Jew is short for Judah. It's an abbreviation. The Jews are descendants from Judah, their great father, and are called after him in Africa and Asia. Did y'all see that? The Jews are descended from Judah, their great father, and are called after him in Africa. Showing you the real Jews are black. Page 348. The prophet Noah. Noah, the son of Lamech, was a prophet of the antediluvian world. A knowledge of the deluge, was made known to him about 120 years before the flood. He was a just man and a faithful preacher of righteousness. He warned the people of their destruction by a flood. God commanded Noah to build the ark, or great ship, and Ham, a mighty man, helped to build the ark at God's command. The posterity of Noah, who inhabited the earth after the flood, were a colored people, and their language was Hebrew. See the historical books of the ancients. This language was originally given to man by his creator, and afterwards broken into a multitude of tongues at Babel. The Hebrew, it is almost certain, was the language of Adam and Eve, and it is certain their complexion
Was black.
was black. Solomon, the Song of Solomon the wise man. The words of Solomon, the son of David, to his friends. I am black but comely, graceful, O ye daughters of Jerusalem. Look not upon me because I am black as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Here Solomon describes his color to be as beautiful as the tents of Kedar, whose tents were made of black goat's hair. Wow. Isaiah the prophet of Amos. But they obeyed not the word of the Lord by the mouth of the prophet, and were led away young and old, naked and barefoot, into captivity, Isaiah 20. As they were black, so was he. He was Isaiah. As he was naked, so were they, led naked and barefoot, young and old, into captivity. Even to this day, from Africa, their descendants are led away by a wicked people
Into slavery.
Wow. A brief history of the Wesleyan missions on the western coast of Africa. All right. This was published in 1851. You can see it right there, 1851. Thus they are fair, referring to the Jews. Thus they are fair in Britain and Germany, brown in France and in Turkey, swarthy means black, in Portugal and in Spain, olive in Syria and in Chaldees, tawny means black or copper colored in Arabia, in Egypt, and nearly black in Abyssinia. And yet they are all Jews of one common ancestry, nation, and language, though scattered o'er all the earth they lie. I want to look up this word. Where was swarthy at? You want to look up swarthy, and in the same definition, you're going to also see tawny, this word here. Tawny and swarthy are synonyms. And the old definition is black. Watch this. Swarthy, etymology, alteration of swarthy, from swart plus y, from Old English swart, meaning black. Let's go down to the adjectives for swarthy. Number one meaning, tawny, dusk, dark. No, tawny, dusky, dark. Number two is dark-skinned. Let's jump down to the synonyms. Look at the synonyms. Dark-skinned, black, dusky, sable, sooty. Tawny, see tawny, dusky, dark, dark-skinned. Africa being an accurate description of the regions of Egypt, Barbary, Libya, and Bilderberg, the land of Negroes, Guinea, Ethiopia, and the Abyssinians. Abyssinia, that's Ethiopia. This was published in 1670. Africa being an accurate description of the regions of Egypt, Barbary, Libya, and Bildelgerid, the land of Negroes, Guinea, Ethiopia, and the Abyssinians, that's Ethiopia. Published in 1670. 1670. Let's go in. All right. I'm on page 34. That's the original page, but in this book it's on 31. All right. I'm going to start here. Many Jews also are scattered over this region, some natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seed. It's talking about Africa. See the title here, Africa. Many Jews also are scattered over this region. What region? Africa. Some natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seed, inhabiting both sides the river Niger, or Niger. Others are Asian strangers who fled thither either from the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian at 70 AD, or from Judea, wasted and depopulated by the Romans, Persians, Saracens, that's Muslims, and Christians, or else such as came out of Europe, whence they were banished. So it's referring to those Jews, those black Jews that were banished, those Jews that were keeping the commandments that were banished. Not all the blacks, but the ones keeping the commandments. Out of some, they were banished where? From where? Out of some parts of Italy in the year 1342, out of Spain in the year 1462, out of the Low Countries, that's the Netherlands, in 1350, out of France in 1403, out of England in 1422. These all differ in habit and are divided into several tribes, having no dominion, though both wealthy and numerous, but despised of all nations, and so abominated by the Turks that they are not admitted to be Mohammedans unless first baptized, and then no otherwise made use of than to receive their customs and gather in their taxes. The image of the black in Western art. This is a sculpture of Saint Maurice. I've been over this several times. Also remember that this is edited by David Beinman, who is I believe he's a racist. Then you got Henry Louis Gates Jr., who's obviously asleep while this guy is writing. Okay, Henry Louis Gates must get paid to close his eyes to not see the evil and ignorance that this guy puts together. All right, let's go into the book. All right, I want you to take a look at this. I want to focus today on plaque or plate number 18, decorated initial, florist, expositio in Epistolas Pauli, volume 2, following 67 V, Carby Abbey, 1164 in Paris. Bibliothèque Nationale, that's the library, National Library. Year is 1164. Now this, I'm assuming it says Exposito in Epistolas Pauli. Seems like it's a Epistle of Paul. Number 18. But let's go inside. Let's go to the next page. Because that's how these quote-unquote scholars do things, and when they hide things from us. Watch this. All right. Here's number 18. But it starts over here. All right. Given the present state of our knowledge, it is very hard to find a place in this study for a series of decorated initials. Decorated initials. We're going to focus here. Decorated initials. Dating from the 12th century, that's 1164, I just showed you, in which the figures of partially or totally nude men with more or less clearly marked black characteristics form the stem of the capital letter P. So there's a black man who's going to be in a design of the capital letter P. Okay. These initials appear in a group of manuscripts executed in northern France, and they include one common trait. They are all connected with St. Paul's epistles. So let's take a look at this letter of St. Paul in the year 1164. Bam. So here's the P. I want y'all to see. Here's the circle, and here's the stem. Let me pull back. So y'all can see it. This is a P. Z. P. A. U. L. U. S. Paulus. Paul. Why does Paul's letter have a black man with a sword going through the head of a demon Caucasian? Remember in Hebrews 4 says the word of God is quicker than a two-edged sword. So Paul has himself in this design a black man with a sword. Here's the legs, here's his feet. I want y'all to see this and look at it good. So Paul's letters shows him as a black man, like in Acts 21:26, where they thought Paul was an Egyptian. He said, "No, verily I'm a man of Tarsus, a Jew." Now let's go back to the writings again. Okay, now I'm going to the next section, number 22. One of the most Negroid in appearance, if only because of the hair done in tight curls, is in Corby manuscript. More exotic is the figure wearing an odd-looking short garment seen in a manuscript of the New Testament, now in Berg-en-Bresse. Unfortunately, its provenance is not known. The reason for the appearance of this type in northern France is still not clear to us. They never want to admit the Jews are black and we lived in France. This guy, David Bond, is a demon. So here's the other letter. Is a P, a Negroid man, but this is more blue in complexion, blue in color, with this little outfit on. But he's a black man. And there's a serpent he's fighting. The serpent got his mouth on his head. All right, remember what this is number 22. Decorated initial introducing St. Paul's epistle to the Colossians. You see that? Decorated initial introducing St. Let me zoom in a little closer. Decorated initial introducing St. Paul's epistle to the Colossians. New Testament. Y'all see that? And following 91V, second half of the 12th century, that's around 1164. So here's another one, St. Paul. This is more blue in complexion, but he's fighting a serpent, a snake. Now you notice here, they tell you straight, St. Paul's epistle, right, to the Colossians. Notice what did you forget the other one? When we went to this one, plate number 18, it's not in English too much. Decorated initial, florist, expositio in epistolas Pauli. So if you didn't have a clue to know that this is Epistle Paul, But they don't want to make it too plain. Why? Because here is clear that Paul is described or shown as a black man with a sword. Do y'all see that? Do you Christians see that? The Jews and Moors in Spain by Joseph Kraskov. Okay. I'm going to start right here on the second day. If I can just focus this. On the second day of January 1481, the Inquisition commenced operation in the city of Seville, that's Spain, with Thomas de Torquemada as Inquisitor General of Castile and Aragon. A few years later, it found its way into every prominent town of Spain and confined itself everywhere almost wholly to the Jews. The severity and savage alacrity of it may best be learned from the appalling fact that during the 18 years of Torquemada's ministry, an average of more than 6,000 convicted persons suffered annually from the cruel tribunal by burning or by condemnation to lifelong slavery or by endless torture, making an average of nearly 17 a day, and the entire number punished during an existence in Spain from 1481 to 1808 amounted to 340,000 persons. All right. All this to protect the interest of religion. All this for offenses so trivial that all this for all this to protect the interests of religion. All this for offenses so trivial that our blood boils with indignation at the very thought of the heinous cruelty. It was sufficient to burn a convert as a relapsed heretic upon the mere accusations of crimes such as these: that he wore better clothes or cleaner linen on the Jewish Sabbath than any other days of the week, that he had no fire in his house on the Jewish Sabbath, that he ate the meat of animals slaughtered by Jews, that he abstained from eating pork, that he gave his child a Hebrew name, and yet he was prohibited by law under severe penalties from giving a Christian name. So our people were tormented and tortured for keeping God's commandments. How to make a Negro Christian. A reprinting of the religious instruction of the Negroes and other works by Dr. Reverend Charles Colcock Jones. Now, this copy is a reprint by our African brother, but I want to show you the life of when this guy, Dr. Reverend Charles Colcock Jones, lived. How to Make a Negro Christian, The Life of Reverend Dr. Charles Colcock Jones. That's him right there. That's the devil. All right. Jones, Charles Colcock, clergyman, born in Liberty County, Georgia. 20th of December, 1804, died there. 16th of March, 1863. So between 1804 and 1863 is when this Edomite wrote the book, How to Make a Negro Christian. And there's one point that I want to show you regarding God's laws and commandments. In order to salvation, the law of God which we have broken must be fulfilled by obedience and satisfied by suffering, neither of which we can do. But both Christ does for us, and what Christ does for us, the Lord accepts in place of our own. 1 Corinthians 1 verse 30, 2 Corinthians 5 verse 18 through 21. Hence, he hath done the work of our salvation. We do no part of it whatever. Christ does the whole. So this is saying Christ kept the law. We don't have to. That's what this is saying. We do no part of it whatever. Christ does the whole. Christ did the obedience to the law and the suffering. We do no part is what the white man taught us as Christians. All right. So you saw the history, and I pray you gleaned some bit of history.